What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty P, Steelers touchdown on our Steelers Forum series where we talk about all of the things that affect the Steelers from team building to front office to draft to signings to players to basically just everything related to the Steelers. But with that sort of GM team building mind, here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Well, we are at a situation where the Pittsburgh Steelers do have their schedule. It's blocking me out right now. But we do know the Steelers' schedule. We do know who they'll be playing. We've known who they're going to be playing for some time, for some months. We do have the schedule out now. It is one that has caught the ire of fans. People in the around the team even have said it's a really tough schedule. We're going to talk about all those things. We'll talk about some other things related to the Steelers as well. There's a lot of other position groups that are still being talked about out there. And I'm going to take some live Q&A as well. But I'm going to kick it off with the comments that we've already sort of had. Steelers fan, enemy territory. We've also Ryan Leaf, who we've got in here. Welcome. I do know I've got your email. I will be responding to that. Now it's the weekend for me. J-Devil is in the chat. Y'all didn't hit the like button, says Gene. Awesome if you can hit that for us. Marky D from Still Nation Australia says, who's this bloke going live? Oh, good one, mate. Jump on if you're not at work, but I think you're at work. JJ52 says the sky is falling. Yes, well, hopefully, I know. I love the hype. I love the sarcasticness in it. I'm still rolling the mend from my flu and cold, so I'm not hitting the sarcasm as well as I could. What's still the schedule? It's too hard and it's not fair. Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting when we talk through that because it is definitely a tough end to it. If I just says what to do with live streams. Yes, I was a little bit late getting started. Shannon White and I were doing our recording of the Steelers Global Perspective, so you'll have 3, maybe 4 episodes coming out between Saturday morning in the US right through to Sunday afternoon. So that's pretty exciting. Got some pretty cool and interesting topics for you guys there. None schedule related. Well, I'm going to talk schedule here. So we'll see how I go. We'll see how long I can go in the stream before my throat gives out. But yeah, Gene, thanks for calling me. Oh, I like that. And Steeler Chick 46 says, at least we can ruin Taylor Swift's Christmas. Well, this is it. And I kind of heard the interview with the VP of football operations or whatever his title is, Mark North, I think it is, for the NFL. And he was talking about, did they look at Taylor's schedule and she can go to 14 games and whatever. Kind of all wild. But the more revenue that the NFL gets, the more revenue the Steelers get. The more that they can, have salary caps and pay players and do all those things. So it's kind of wild. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like that idea too. Devastated. Not devastated. I am getting to go to the Steelers Chargers game. So that's exciting. So I wanted to share that with everyone. We are going to organizing things. Perhaps even Shannon will be able to come up from another state as well. So it's going to be pretty exciting, the different things. But Mark's going to have a fantastic time from Still Nation Australia, Marky D, for those of you new to the channel. We have had I calculated it last night, we had 196 new subscribers since the start of April. So if you're new to the channel, whether you've been watching before, if you're new and you completely found us, Marky D and I created the Steelers Touchown Under together. Originally, he has Steel Nation Australia too, but we created the Steelers Touchdown on a podcast in late 2020, in September 2020. So during all the COVID stuff, when we're back when we were hosted on Behind the Steel Curtain, which is now Steel Curtain Network. So the Market E's going up there for the Christmas Day game, and that's going to be exciting. Christmas Day game is his thing. He's there for the Baltimore Ravens. He's got a cool story there. I'm not going to tell it for you. I think he's did put out a video about that again. So it's pretty exciting. Jen says, hey, 46. J-Devil says, still a chick, hard schedule. We do not care. Well, this is interesting, right? Exactly. We do not care. Kay Adams said this. I saw this I was just having a tea between the recording of the Global Perspective and this because of my throat, a hot tea. And Kay Adams said this, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I'll play that for you super quickly because I thought this was cool.
Wild to me that the Steelers, as we talked about, their bottom odds. What are their odds? Plus 650. Plus 650, guys. Bottom once again, despite upgrading at the most important position on the field with either choice, and also adding to every level on both sides of the ball as well. I don't know. When are we going to stop doing this to Mike Tomlin? When are we going to get it? If it's Russ, if it's Justin, this team's going to be relevant. And I feel like this
there you go. That's it. Exactly. We're going to be freaking relevant, right? Like the Steelers do not care. And we're going to go through the schedule because I do want to talk about it. We can't just trivialize it. The schedule is really important. But as Cam says, we do not care. When are we going to stop doubting people? Daredevil says we do not care. Mike Tomlin says we do not care because Mike Tomlin is effing working, as Mike likes to say. And quite honestly, it's also what like Tomlin said,
We just want to roll people, man, to be honest with you guys. We got some backs that we like.
That's what we want. That's what we want. We just want to roll people. Steelcheck says, hi, Gene and Jer. JD52 says 2023, Rudolph says Christmas. 2024, Wilson ruins Christmas. Yeah, it'll be the Wilsons because we've got Peyton Wilson, we've got Roman Wilson, and we've got Russell Wilson. And it could well be, that could be a Peyton Wilson, like, coming out party there for him. Like, that's exciting. Oh, cheers, Gene. I don't know, I got to hit that on Discord. Let me have a chat to you about that one. The Steelchick 46 says Steelers social media team needs to step it up. Nothing beats the Chargers release video. I haven't seen that yet. So yeah, I will have to have a look at that one. West Coast, LA, like they're kind of that media sort of hub, I guess. But when it is interesting, I thought I didn't mind the James Harrison one, but he had to have laughed at some point. Like I don't know. It wasn't as good as the one. What was the year that Cam came crashing through the walls? Oh, that one was cool. Gene says 12 wins for sure. JW says K Adams is a 10. JD52 says Adams usually has pretty good takes, people down the Steelers. Exactly. That's it, right? And she does. And that's why she's got her own thing now. I'll just get out of it. See, she keeps playing. She keeps playing through my phone. Anyway, well, let's get into the schedule. I think it's like I want to talk through it. Let's go. I'm going to save a prediction show necessarily, but I want to do that with like Marky D or Shannon or something like that. More fun than just my takes. But I do want to talk through the schedule because I think it's really important going week by week because there's some games I love, there's some games I hate, there's some games that I think are going to be very telling for the Steelers. So that's probably pretty big for y'all. Kickoff Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, there's a lot of people hyping up around the Arthur Smith situation. Oh, and by the way, I should have teed it off. Sorry, a bit of brain fog with this flu, cold thing I'm battling, whatever it is. I want everyone throwing in the live chat, ask me any questions about anything Steelers related while we go through the schedule stuff. But anyway, regardless, Atlanta Falcons. So they play them. They go away to the Atlanta Falcons. They go away to Denver. It's kind of interesting. I kind of feel like I feel like the overall YouTube, social media, like landscape out there, everyone's like, oh, the Steelers play 2 road games. Well, selfishly, because I am going to be in Pittsburgh for the Chargers game, I was really kind of hoping they would play on the road at least week 1 and hopefully week 2, because week 2 would be guarantee a week 3 home game pretty much. So I was excited about that. But I also think that from my perspective, obviously it's unlimited data by the Pirates where they play. I think going into Atlanta for Arthur Smith's sort of comeback game there, I think is actually a really good thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think playing in a stadium is always good when you can do that. Like especially the one that Atlanta have. I think that helps quarterbacks. I do think, and it's a really good question from Gene as well. So I will address that as part of this take on Atlanta. I do think from an Atlanta perspective as well, and Mike Tomlin knows how to go play in there. The Steelers are familiar with there. We played in there in preseason and any game in the last couple of years. So I kind of like this matchup. I think Atlanta are going to be a much better team than they've been before, but they're going to be a very different team at times as well. And what better for the Steelers defense to have to scheme against weapons like Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson and Drake London than have their former offensive coordinator, well, the head coach who ran and called the offense, literally on the Steelers team. So this is going to work very, very well, I think, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they go away to Denver. Obviously, that's a big game for Russell Wilson. I love it, though. We're going to see early on, is Russ back to being Russ or is Russ done? I like that. I like that at Denver. I like it in the summertime to start the game, too. You don't have to worry about, like, the snow sort of stuff. I'm liking that to kick it off. Plus, you go win these 2 games off the bat. You go home and you're 2-0, then you can go 3-0, and then as we'll continue through the schedule, that helps as well. So I like the Denver game. I think they've got huge issues at quarterback. We talk about, Bill Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks, and we talked about how that goes, or against inexperienced quarterbacks, even with Kenny Pickett last year, who wasn't end up being fit for that game. But you look at it with Mike Tomlin, he destroys some rookie quarterbacks as well with his defense. So I kind of like it if they're going up against Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Then the Steelers play at home. Los Angeles Chargers cannot wait. Oh, actually, I skipped. I did not answer Gene's question. My bad, Gene. So Gene said, basically, does Penix start? It's going to be interesting. If he starts, I think it's more due to a niggle with Kirk Cousins. I think they're going to want Kirk Cousins to start the season. So that's going to be interesting. Steelers fan in the enemy territory, which is Ryan Leaf. He's got a new show. Go check out that channel. We've got a cool thing that's hopefully going to happen here soon with Steelers fan in enemy territory. He says, "What's up?" Gene Smith says, "Russ is going to kill Denver. They shot Peasy." That's it. I love how Mark broke that out with Brian McFadden. What a show. Still Chick 46 says Russell want to beat Denver by 50, 100%. So then they go, as I said, they go home. They play the Los Angeles Chargers at home. I am so pumped for this game. 1 p.m. It's going to be warm. The last game I was freezing my butt off. In the Bills game in 2019. So excited for this one. Then they go away to Indianapolis, and that will come up in one of the shows that I recorded with Shannon for the Steelers Global Perspective that's coming out over the weekend when there's different segments. And that's kind of cool. I like playing it. I like when they play in stadium. Again, it's helpful for the quarterback. Will be really helpful for this team that they've played there fairly recently as well, like in last season. Hopefully Kazi cannot get penalized. I do like this game. I think that's really helpful for the Steelers. Then they come home and they play the Dallas Cowboys in a classic matchup. This will be interesting because sometimes Dallas take a little while to get rolling, or they have a fast start and then they sort of struggle in the mid parts of the year. So again, I think that this is one that I'm kind of interested to see how that rolls out from where Dallas is situated and how much the Steelers have or have not been able to find that rhythm. I think on defense it's going to be fine, but more that rhythm on offense. I think that's going to be the interesting one to see. And so then they play the home game, then they travel all the way back to Las Vegas Raiders, who they played in week 3 last year. They won that game against the Vegas Raiders. So that was exciting. I actually thought this could be the week 3 game again this year if the Steelers played week 2 at home. So that's kind of interesting. Look, the Raiders have got big questions around quarterback. They've got big questions around, what their offense looks like with, Mayer. They did go out and get with, Mayer and Adams and how they're going to get the ball. They did go out and get, as I was going to mention, Brock Bowers. So they are going to have offensive weapons. But I think it's more about if the Steelers defense plays well, that game should be really, really good. Again, I thought Russ might be someone the Vegas Raiders were going to go after. So it's kind of a weird sort of lucky world, sliding doors moment, whatever multi-dimension sort of game in some ways with those Vegas Raiders. But again, I think it helps the Steelers playing indoors. Kind of sucks you want to play more indoors in the colder weather, but that's cool. They do go back over to the West. At least they don't have the double West tour where they got to play the Chargers and the Raiders at the same time. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. Sorry, I'm not sure keeping up with the live chat. Gene Smith says Chargers going down 100%. Steel Chick 46 says Steelers versus the Harbaugh 3-0 this season. That's it. That's what we want. Maybe even 4-0 with playoffs. Gene Smith. I think the Colts will be tough to beat as well, but I think Anthony Richardson, after such a long layoff, will take a little while to get going. Steelers fan enemy territory says, luckily we won't have Mitch Terabalisky. I love that. That is awesome. Man, coined that. I love that. I've never actually heard that. Maybe someone else has used it somewhere, but we haven't heard that down here, down under. Gene says Dallas is also kind of an even kill. Yeah, definitely even kill game. Toddy says drizzle. Toddy, welcome to the chat. Not worried about the Raiders. Toddy woo. Bears might be scary. Keep going through it. Toddy says, yeah, cool. We're retaining forever. Love it. All right, so yeah, so then they go to Raiders. Then they've got the Jets at home. That's going to be a really cool game. that's one of those games you look at and you're like, I'd love to be back for that, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately. But Jets, Giants, both New York teams. It's kind of weird because you go to New York and you play both teams who play in the same stadium. And in this case, they're both coming to Pittsburgh. I kind of love it. That New York Giants game, that jersey they've got, I'm so 50-50 on it. That red jersey that they've released. Like, I kind of get the point about this tradition, but at the same time, it also looks like horrific. But yeah, hopefully the Steelers can destroy them in that jersey. But they're gonna be. I think New York's going to be a lot of points. I think the Giants game is going to be a bit more classic, hard defense, hard running. It's going to be really interesting. And Gene says, Jesham, yeah, so I reckon that I don't think they could flex. That is a primetime Sunday game, but yeah, so it doesn't need to be flexed. That'll be interesting. They got Monday Night Football, so it's probably going to be both primetime, so that's pretty cool. Then they got a Week 9 bye, and a lot of Steelers fans over the last few years, we could have definitely all agreed that the Steelers have been duped. Or, we can say we're gypped here, kind of same thing, but they've been gypped or duped on the when they get the bye. At least a Week 9 bye is pretty good. It's literally dead set in the middle of the season, effectively. You can't ask more than that unless you have it after you played 9 games, right? Really. So I like that. I'm keen on that. I think that's a really good time for the Steelers. It's a really good time for everyone to get healthy. If you get a player with a 6 to 8 week injury in the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season, they get to be back for the game against the Commanders, which is pretty cool. They have to go play in Washington. I don't think that's an issue. I saw Manuel Forbes Jr., who's a quarterback I really do like for Washington, and Joey Porter Jr. Going at it on Instagram about on a live about Joey Porter saying we're going to fill the stadium. I freaking love that. So that's cool. Then they obviously have the Ravens at home. It'll be nice for them to get back home on Sunday Night Football, Sunday afternoon football. Weather'll start to be getting colder then. That's going to be a cool game as well. I think my time zone will have shifted by then, so at least it's not a 3 a.m., it's a 5 a.m. wake up for me, but that's going to be really important. The Steelers kind of need to come out, and I'm going to go back through like the way they need to approach it, but I'm just sort of rolling through my general thoughts about teams and who they play first, and then we can talk about why I think they need to approach the schedule certain ways. But I think if you can win, pardon me, I'm still recovering from that flu cold. But if you can win your 2 home games, coming back from the Raiders, if you can beat the Jets and the Giants, or at least win one of those games, we want them to win at home all the time. Win every game, but particularly at home. Then you can win the Commanders, and you can go in with a 2 out of 3 game or 3 out of 3 record. You can beat the Baltimore Ravens at home. And so basically you end up with 3 or 4 wins after your previous road trip to the Raiders in week 6, split by the bye. That is going to really help the Steelers, because then they go to what I actually just think is actually one of their toughest, or the toughest game on the schedule. And Steeler Chick 46 says, why did Jets get 6 primetime games? Rogers, who cares? Yeah, I mean, that's all about the TV markets. People want to see is if microdosing. Brian Wright says, sounds like Pittsburgh needs to bend over. Yeah, I don't think they're that bad. And you let us know in live. I don't think you commented back at me. You're actually a Steelers fan, because I'm questioning that with some of the comments. But anyway, Cleveland Browns. They obviously were Steelers playing Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. That to me right now is the toughest game on the schedule, because you will have played 3 games since the bye. You will have had the Ravens, which would have like taken you out a little bit, and then you're going away after literally you've basically gone away in week 6. Home bye, away home against the Ravens, and then you go away to the Browns, and then you've got to go away to Cleveland as well. So the thing is that the Steelers have to go 100% in all these games, but having all these AFC North games back to back, this is where I think they've been duped. It's not the teams that they've got in their quality at the back end of the season. It's that there's these 4, not 5. Yeah, 4 AFC North matchups in a row. That's a really physical, and also 2 of them are away in the middle. It's not even split by away, home. But that's going to make that Cleveland Browns game on week 14 also really important, because if you don't win away, you have to win it. You have to win that game at home, particularly if you don't beat the Ravens at home. Now, I think they will beat the Ravens at home. I think they're probably the tougher game is the Bengals if Burrow's healthy. If Burrow's not healthy, then that becomes the easier game than the Browns. Then Browns at home should be straightforward, but it is a must win at that point. Then they go away to Philadelphia. I don't believe in throwing games. I don't believe in tanking, particularly not in the sport where you've got you're literally playing 17 regular season games. But they need to be thoughtful about who they put into the mix in Philadelphia, because then you're going to go play away at Baltimore. Then you go Kansas City at home. And then you've obviously finished the season out with the Bengals at home. I do like the idea where there's a good AFC North, where I think Marky D talked about one of his shows this week, where they've really, when he did the schedule, was the team that wins the North is probably only going to win 12 games, probably, because of the way the matchups go. Having the Bengals at home and finishing at home is really key. How many years have we seen the Steelers finish away to different teams? And I also like the idea of it not being a Browns or Ravens where they want to try as much as the smash mouth, that it's going to be more of a point scorer one. Because let's say Russ is cooking, Russ has been your quarterback all year. You can then have Fields potentially come in for this one. I do really like this. I think that's a better game for the Steelers to end the season than we've had in a lot of years, where we've had to go away to Baltimore, a couple of years in a row, or at least a lot since 2019. I think it's 3 times we finished it up that way, or away to Cleveland. I do like finishing against the Bengals. But it also kind of feels like it finishes up really quickly as well. I feel like we're a week ahead than what we were last year with the dates. Fuzzy Monkey says, "What's up, Nate? What's up, Nate? Good to have you in." And we got a shout out with the live chat. I don't know if people saw this in the comments or it came up on maybe Steeler Nation Australia, where some of you are just Touchown on the subscribers. But Fuzzy Monkey became a grandfather in the last week. That is so exciting. But the burning question for me, Fuzzy, is are you the first one to buy your lovely granddaughter a terrible towel? Did you get her a first terrible towel? How did that happen? That's kind of cool. I want to know about that. You got to be the first one to buy a terrible towel. Gene Smith says AFC is going to be tough. The North might. Well, this is it, right? I feel like it's going to be it's going to cannibalize itself. It's all going to be eat each other. All right. So they're kind of my thoughts generally about the schedule. How do the Steelers need to approach it? Well, I kind of a little bit talked about that, but these first 2 games against the Falcons and Denver, that's got to be working in. I don't want to see vanilla. I don't want to see vanilla during the preseason, but that's got to be working into your rhythm, relying on the run game, not overly pressurizing the quarterback. For Russell Wilson, I think, yes, playing in the stadium is going to help him in Atlanta. But I think that he needs to work himself into it and not try and do everything at once really, really quickly. Or if it's Fields, it's the same thing. Don't try to be everything. Just try and get the basics right, come out with a clean win, and move on to the next week. Denver, this all depends whether Fields or Russ is the starting QB. That's kind of the crazy questions. Is who's going to start there and why are they going to start? If it's Russ, then this is just going to Denver, block out the noise, go in and get the win, put that in the trophy cabinet, get that revenge game. If it's Fields, this is an interesting one because playing in Denver is no easy feat, as well as that. I think the Steelers offense is still going to be trying to work into a rhythm. It's rely on the run game, ground and pound, Warren and Najee for the win. Effectively, that's what it's got to be. And still, Chick 46 says who gets AFC on 1 seed. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that. Well, let me correct you this, but I'm definitely gonna look at that. Gene, yeah, they shot easy. Exactly right. Defense is gonna, and that's the thing. Run the ball. Mistake-free football, defense can win that out. Then they go through this weird, obviously at home, I just want to obliterate the Chargers, 50, 40 points. Good to see you. Thanks for coming and paying me back from the crappy Bills game I went to. Now, it was a good game, but it was low scoring. Devlin Duck Hodges at quarterback. Right, then they got to go to the Colts. I kind of talked about playing in staying there. They need to win this game. This is one of those really important games. Every game is important, but this is one of those important games on the schedule where you're playing an AFC team that could be contending within their division, and so you have to win that game. It's really important that you win that and basically force your AFC North division rivals to have to win that game as well because of tiebreakers, because the Colts could be making it into the playoffs. So it's an important game you want to win up front if Indianapolis Colts get on a roll. Dallas, obviously, we want the Steelers to always put in a good showing at home. That's an important game if Dallas are rolling. If Dallas aren't rolling and they've had an interesting start to the season, that could be a bit different. Again, you want the Steelers to play really, really well. You want the Steelers to be up in the fourth quarter so they can run it out, rest a guy. Like, it's a good game where, let's say they got a 2-touchdown lead or a 12-point lead, time to go. Do you then roll in Fields and let Russ sit so that Russ can be ready for the Vegas Raiders? I know he's an experienced guy, but he's older. Let's manage it. So that's kind of the approach I take with Dallas is let's see where Dallas are at. Try and get some points early because it will be a point-scoring game in all likelihood. They do have Ezekiel Elliott back who had a fantastic game for the Patriots in Acrisure Shaw last year. And then you go over to the Vegas Raiders. So you go to the Vegas Raiders. And that, again, as I said, is got to be where the offense is firing. That's when you're looking to throw the football. Let Calvin Austin cook there as well if he's still on the team. That could be a huge one. Get a flex to live chat super quickly. JJ52 says, I'd rather have a tough... That's the same. They still are going to be battle-hardened, and it's a very long season. I love that, Fuzzy. I love that. I want everything I possibly need. I got to steal a blanket. I've got a terrible towel. It's a great idea. Yeah, you got to get out a terrible towel. Yeah. Maybe, do they make a terrible towel bib? Steelers.com don't make a terrible towel bib. Someone sell them that idea. That's freaking fantastic. Steelers terrible towel bib. I love that. Toddy says, I hate Dallas. That's it, man. That's why I want to blow them away. Blow them away with the points. I think it means the team, though. Yeah, I've been in Dallas. I went to the House of Blues in Dallas. I saw Steve Earle. That was cool. That's a wild story for another time. Then, obviously, as I said, we've got the 2 home games against the Jets and the Giants. Now, obviously, as Aaron Rodgers, it's like not getting into the hype. It's going out there being the spoilers for the, I feel like they're trying to make this like a whole America's team, Jets thing, whatever. I don't care. Just go smash the guys. Giants, again, it's about winning that game and going into the bye because let's look at it, right? The Steelers should win in Atlanta, right? Maybe not. Maybe we'll see what Broncos. Chargers will be tough, but a really good home game. So let's say they're 3-0. 4-0 Colts. Let's say they let's say they lose in Denver. Let's go 1-1. Beat the Chargers at home, they're 2-1. Beat the Colts, they're 3-1. Beat the Cowboys, they're 4-1. Beat the Raiders, they're 5-1. They could go into this game 6-1. If they can then win the 2 games against the 2 New York teams, they can literally go in to 8-1 to the bye. That will be huge because then before you even get to the division games, you can then go away to Washington after the bye fresh and win that game. Like then we're at 9-1. You beat the Baltimore Ravens at home, then you're at 10-1. Then you're really on a roll. And you've got a record that another team is going to have to beat you because at least your record, like even if you don't win all, like even if you win 3 or 4 divisional games, your record is going to be like, and this is where I think the Steelers' schedule is helpful. Now, realistically, they're probably a 7-3 or a 8-2. 8-2 is probably the real sweet spot going into that Ravens game. If that can be the case, that's going to be really awesome. In terms of putting the pressure on those other teams to have to beat the Steelers to get divisional, to get the win when you look in the divisional column to get to be able to move up higher. My brain's just not there. I haven't had my coffee yet. But yeah, basically to get that divisional win over the Steelers. Steelers fan Henry Terrace says, hopefully they sack Daniel Jones a lot. Yeah, well, that's it, right? Steel Check says, I maybe need to watch the 2008 Pittsburgh Dallas game later. Watch Romo throw a bad interception. Ooh, that's a good idea. Fuzzy Monkey says, I'm surrounded by Patriots fans, so I need to go online and see what my team has for babies. Yeah, you should. I don't know. If they don't have that, they should have that. The interception after they played. Yeah, nice. And then Gene says, I think 7-2 at the bye. Yeah, that's probably more realistic. Particularly it might be that Colts game that they drop. Or they might drop one of the New York games. That Giants game, particularly heading into the bye, maybe they're just so struggling. Maybe they've got some niggling injuries. But as I said, if they can go in for the bye, or they can come out of Washington and somehow like 7-3, 8-2, or better. Like I said, I think that changes that changes how they can approach the rest of the schedule, because I do think I'm not going to disagree with what I just said earlier about. I do think the two toughest games almost are the two Cleveland games, because they're at the start and the back end. The start and the middle of this divisional sort of setup, and the Cleveland Browns, you're going to be hurting after playing the Ravens at home in Acrisure. You're probably going to be hurting again, unless the Steelers blow them away, because we do have, like, that's the thing. Steelers were able to use Devin Bush to destroy Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is terrible against the Steelers. And they got Peyton Wilson now. And we'll talk with Shannon White and I talked about Peyton Wilson in one of our episodes for Global Perspective that's coming out on the weekend. Peyton Wilson by week 11? Whoo-wee, man. That's going to be wild. That is going to be wild. Toddy says, I was in Cowboys bar during that game. There are only a handful of Steelers fans there when Deshae Towns in the game. Look, yeah. We are all glad Steelers Chief 46. I know. I love that Browns have him. That is going to be so fun. Najee and Warren are going to destroy that kid. Queen knows the D too. It's just to let Queen cook and not have to wear the green dot potentially mid-season, or to let Queen be Queen from last year and let Peyton Wilson, be more like the Roquan Smith. It could be really, really good for this team. That's it. We are 100% having a big tailgate party. We are. That's it. 1 p.m. I can't believe that's when we're kicking off. It's going to be awesome. So yes, we will be organizing. So for those out there, I will be at the Steelers Week 3 game. We're going to try and organize. I'm planning some things at the moment. I need to work out when I'm exactly getting into Pittsburgh before the game on the Sunday. I'm going to be going via the Hall of Fame, so it'll depend how much Matty gets stuck in the Hall of Fame. But I'm working out, not on the day of the game, but I'm just working out some logistics around how we do the game, but there will be definitely something in Pittsburgh for everyone in Pittsburgh or that's traveling in for the game. So you have all had plenty of notice. I'm hoping to figure out some things in the next few weeks. I've looked at a few different ideas at the moment as well. So that's going to be really, really cool. I can't even believe it. To be honest, that's why I might seem somber on it. After I got a couple of just after they got that schedule, I just was in disbelief that I'm actually going back. Like, it'll almost be 5 years since I was in Pittsburgh for a game, just because of COVID and personal things and all that sort of good stuff. So I'm just so excited to be going back. It's just awesome. When you live on the other side of the world and you're watching most games at 3 a.m., nothing beats being there in Pittsburgh. It's insane. It's funny. I won't go off camera, but my wife, I had my birthday last week, and my wife got the first terrible towel that we bought. I waited to buy a terrible towel in Pittsburgh, and she got that framed for me as well. So that's going to go up on the wall behind me. Pretty excited to go get another terrible towel. That's pretty interesting. Gene and Fuzzy. So I ended up buying tickets really quickly because my wife said to me, you just got to buy the tickets, do not be without a ticket. So I did buy 2 tickets. So Gene and Fuzzy, you should chat if you want as well. The link up there as well. And even if you guys don't want to put details in here together at the same time, I can link you to via email. My email is literally AussieSteel91, as you see on the board, with lowercase @gmail.com. So I can link you two together via email if you don't want to put it in comments together. But you guys might be in the Steeler Nation Discord together. I don't know. Steeler Nation Australia one. All right, so let's keep going back to the schedule for everyone else. People might not be that interested in whether I'm going to Pittsburgh or not, but I think a lot of people are subs. So then, obviously, the Steelers go away to Philadelphia. We talked about that. I think approaching this game, this is kind of the hard one because this is kind of your break from the AFC North, but it's a team that plays like one of the better AFC North teams, so it's a very like Ravens similar game. If Jalen Hurts is injured, like think about that. Jalen Hurts could be injured. We could be playing Kenny Pickett in Philly. Wild. This is the sort of game though where I think it would kind of help. This would kind of help like the Steelers, like particularly with this record. But the defense is going to have to play really, really well. But what would help the Steelers is if Russ has cooked. Russ is a starting QB. This is the sort of game you want a really experienced quarterback playing wedge between two divisional games. Really, really important because you want to be able to throw the football. I know it's going to be cold in Philadelphia. It's not always sunny in Philadelphia. Sorry, bad joke. But it's going to be cold. You want to be able to throw the football because you want to be able to run the ball. You're going to be running the ball heavy against Cleveland. You're going to be running the ball heavy against Baltimore the following week. Then there are Kansas City. And I'm going to say this is how they should approach the game. Just go out there ready to obliterate, ready to cook. But I actually think this will be quite a tight game. I think there might be some big plays, but I think it'll be quite a tight game. And I think it really comes down to how the Steelers defense plays. I'm not saying it's going to be a 17-14. No, I think it's going to be in the early 20s sets of points, maybe more. But it will come down to the Steelers defense. If they shut them down and we're able to run the rock and we're able to play action will be super key. Absolutely super key to win this game. So hopefully the Steelers have developed a deep play action pass game and pass set and scheme at that stage of the season. And then they close out against the Bengals. And that's so hard to know what that's going to be because the Steelers could be any sort of record by then. They could be fighting for the North. They could have a really nice record. They could be like 12-4, but they need a divisional win because they've dropped 2 or 3 divisional games. So this Bengals game is going to be really important, but it's sort of, I don't know harm to domestic cats out there, but it's kind of this literally is the game of there's different ways to skin a cat, and that's going to come down to this game, particularly in terms of deciding how the Steelers season finishes up. Jedel says, do we get the 46 discount? Then Silver Choice 6 says, wouldn't it be interesting if the Eagles game, how good would it be, man? Payne Wilson against Kenny, freaking destroy them. What he says, Lenny would throw 4 picks. I freaking love it. We are ready to watch Kenny Pickett get destroyed. I love it. Cool. Well, that's kind of a lot of what I wanted to cover ultimately, like for the schedule. I'm not sure there's any Q&A. Anyone questions anyone had, throw them in now. I think we've got this. Can someone tell me, because I can't see what you're looking at. Do there super stickers there now? Apparently the super stickers and the super chats are there, like 500. I'm not ever going to ask anyone for any of those. I was just interested to see if that's actually coming up for everyone out there or not. YouTube's been a bit funny on all that sort of stuff this week. But yeah, I guess like there's a few other kind of quick things that I thought I'd cover off on the show. It's not Gene? Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's kind of YouTube are really weird. They like tell you what's happening at 500 and then like some stuff's not there yet. It's kind of a bit weird. I don't really know what's going on. Well, Steelers fan enemy territory. You literally hit what I was going to cover if I didn't get a question. So we are on the money there. What do I think about the Steelers talking to Michael Thomas? I don't really like it. I've got to be honest. I'm not really a fan of that move. Michael Thomas has spent a lot of time on the sidelines in the last few years. Michael Thomas has gotten a lot older. I think he's probably dropped a step or two, maybe not 2 steps, but he's definitely slowing down. I also don't get why you wouldn't go get Hunter Renfrow over Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is going to be really good for a team that's competing as like their third guy. And then if he does better, fine. But I think the Steelers should be getting someone like a Renfrow, a bit younger, Renfrow can do all those things, but then he's between like a Scotty Miller and a Michael Thomas. So I actually don't love this. And then I fully don't get the Scotty Miller part if you're bringing in Michael Thomas Jr. I would get the speed part. You've already got Calvin Austin and Van Jefferson, so it doesn't really make sense to me there. Yeah, JJ, that's my plan. That's why I didn't want to give a record prediction because we love doing that show together. So we'll try and tee that up. Yeah, Gene says his tickets are a discount, $300 per ticket. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think my tickets were $335 on the opposite side of the field. I wanted to be near the tunnel. Pittsburgh Toddy says 11-5 this year, 12-5. I've been 11-6 and 12-5 this year. I like it. Yeah, I got 12. Gene says I got 12 to 13 wins. Yeah, I got 12. I think 12 is pretty good. I think a lot of it will come down to, is Russ the starting quarterback? If he doesn't win the job and it's Fields, Has Fields developed? Has he not? Is there an injury midway through the season? I think they're kind of a lot of my sorts of feelings about the record right now. But if we could get where we got to, with the Steelers last year, then I think this team's easily 2 or 3 wins better. Not just because of offense, but like the defense is better. We've fixed the strong safety position. I would still love another big strong safety, but Ryan Watts could be that guy out of Texas, the 6th-round draft pick. And they've fixed the linebacker position, which was the biggest hole. I think they've got a better D-line this year, a much better D-line, and better even more so if Cam's healthy. And when I look at the linebackers, outside linebacker, maybe we need to find a 4th guy, but let's see. I think there's some options there. I think you've got some options that can help you in a pinch. I think cornerback is better than what it was last year as well, like a lot better, with Dante Jackson there versus Levi Wallace. I think Beanie Bishop's going to be terrific. Shannon White and I talked about him on one of the shows that's coming out over the weekend. So yeah, I really do think I think this team's just a lot better all around on defense, and I think offense with like a lot better quarterback play. Maybe you could argue we're down on wide receiver, but I don't know if I fully agree with that, because I think with what Pickens is going to do in this offense, I do think we're maybe short a tight end, but you can hear what I've got to say about that on one of the Global Perspective shows. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So Steelers fan in territory says, what do you think about the Cam Hayward situation? One sec. I think my voice is starting to give way after about 40 minutes. So the last couple of questions, but what do you think of Cam Hayward situation? I think Cam does deserve a new deal. I think the new deal should pay him a lesser cap number than this year. I don't think signing Cam for 3 seasons, including this year, is smart. I think you sign him. Maybe you do sign for 3 years, but it's front loaded into the 2 years. So it's like basically like, the NBA, they got like player and team options. It basically becomes a team option effectively for 2026. And that amount has got to come down. He's not going to be worth $20 million next year. He's probably not worth $20 million this year, but you're going to have to find a way to. He is being paid equivalent to about that amount when things are spread. And I would also, as much as most people don't like, or some people don't like it, I would be doing a voidable year with him and stretching it out, kind of like it's like a retirement payment or pension plan for Cam. But I mean, we talked about this on one of Steel's Global Perspective episodes, so I don't want to ruin it. But one of the things I did say was that having Ogunjobi and the cost of Ogunjobi, because he's uncuttable, because if it was cuttable right now, price-wise, they probably would have done it or be doing it after June. With the cost of Ogunjobi, it makes it harder. Look, the Cam Hayward situation is a lot more costly. There's a lot of money going on that D-line for performers that like are on the back end of their careers. Some of it a little bit also depends on how much they want to use Benton. I've got a Fahoko video coming early next week after Global Perspective content. And a lot of it depends with like who are using interior or not as well. Look, I want to see Cam Hayward retire a Pittsburgh Steeler. I also am concerned he's may not get a Super Bowl and retire a Pittsburgh Steeler and get both of those things. I am confident in this team. I'm confident in this team next year. I just think it's all about the right money. But I think the Steelers will find a way to make this work, particularly because they're not paying, quarterbacks crazy money yet. Darwin Nolan says better QBs, better O-line, better. Exactly, mate. It's better offense. That's why 12 to 13 wins. Gene says 1 year. Do I think do you think Cam? That's a good question. I'm going to have a look what the live chat says. I'm going to answer it first. I think they're being a little bit greedy above 20 million. Calais Campbell last year had 8 million, I think it was, from the Falcons. He had 6.5 the year before with the Ravens. How much better is Cam than Calais Campbell at that year? Again, I think the Ogunjobi part makes it seem more costly than what it is. But yeah, I don't think Cam's 20 plus million a year player. I think he's a 15 million a year player if he's playing 10 to 12 games. Yeah, I like the incentive idea. Yeah, if you get 10 sacks, then yeah, and you can have a couple, 2 or 3 extra mil. That'd be a good idea. I like that. Then it's not down to the Steelers necessarily, or even health related. You get player gain bonuses, which the Steelers can do as well. So if you stay healthy, we'll pay you. If you don't, you're not getting paid. That could be the way to do it. JF52, I like that, Gene. Good call. Steelers, JF52 says, Steelers have improved, but so a lot of our teams. The biggest question is, can the offense score more points in with the new pieces? That is a good point as well. And, you know, Roman Wilson's going to be the enigma, I guess, to see, or like the X factor. It's a better word. Toddy says, I agree, Gene. Cam is the heart of this team. Fuzzy says, I'm going to lose money if they are not in. They are not, if they're not in the division round, right? Darwin Nolan says faster defense was 6 in scoring, 16.9. Queen, Peyton, Trice, Rush, Jackson, Watts. That's it, man. Like, look at how much better they are. And people are sleeping on Dean. Shannon and I did talk about it briefly, but I reckon people are sleeping on Dean Lowry. I reckon some of the Steelers community out there, not this community, but the Steelers community out there are sleeping on Dean Lowry. Dean Lowry is a better version of Chris Wormley, a more versatile version, a bigger guy. Like, this guy is going to be really good for us. Whoa. We have our first live super chat. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Darwin says, Steelers going to sign Cam to a 3 $15 million a year. Yeah, if that's team friendly in the front, I don't mind that. I'll take that. That basically, with Ogunjobi, but that means you have to draft a DL next year in the first couple of rounds. You got to get a really good DL. But at the moment, where the Steelers will be picking, there's some good DLs. I think there's a kid out of Iowa I'm going to start looking at. I saw him on a mock draft the other day. Mark Lancaster says Michael Thomas is out there. Oh, so Mark, you joined just after I finished. I talked about him about 5-10 minutes ago. But I was saying that there's other guys I'd prefer, like a Slayton or a Hunter Renfro, than Michael Thomas. I think if you like Michael Thomas, you can get that out of Hunter Renfro with a bit more youth, probably a bit more speed. Michael Thomas on the slowing down, and younger, and spread that over a couple of year deal. I agree, Jet. I agree. I want to make it sustainable for the team because I want him to win that Super Bowl. We got to have guys we can bring in to do it. But I bring up the first super chat I've ever got from my man, Mikey D, Steeler Nation Australia, the OG, the real reason we're doing podcasting and Steelers YouTube and everything together. He goes, "G'day, mate. Here we go. Congratulations on 500 subs. Go by a beer and a stinny." Go, thank you, dude. You did not have to do that. I appreciate that so damn freaking much. And it means a lot that you're the first one. We got to do, everyone said in the chat, I know you got work, we're going to have to find a way with our works in the next week to do a Steelers record prediction show, because we do that every year. We do that twice a year. Sometimes we've done it 3 times a year. I want to do that with you soon. That's why I purposely didn't talk about win records and each game by game. But man, I can't thank you enough for that. I love that. Thank you so much. I'm just taken back. And all your support of this channel and the drafts that we do together, I freaking love it. Steelers fan Enemy Territory says, my last question is, how do you think Dante Jackson will be the Steelers? Okay, so I wanted this guy in 2022. Kind of disappointed we get him in 2024, only because could have had him for 2 years. He would have fixed the Steelers cornerback room. And I think we got another super chat in there from Gene. So we'll go get to that. I'll answer Steelers fan Enemy Territory question first. I think he'd be really good. I think figuring out slot corner, and there's a Global Spectre video literally coming about on that. Like, Shannon recorded that less than 2 hours ago now. Once they figure out slot corner, they can let just Dante Jackson do his thing and not be overly attracted, I guess, to moving Dante into the slot at times. That would be really helpful. He's going to be a really good player. He's quicker than for the Steelers. He's quicker than what people expect. Back when everyone was on the hype of the JC Jackson, I kept saying he's the wrong Jackson. Go get Dante Jackson. Panthers haven't used him well last couple of years either. The basket case of a team, in some respects at the moment. He's going to be really, really good. It's hard to give a comparable for him because, it's been a while since the Steelers had 2 really solid bona fide cornerbacks. It's very much a, how do I put it? Trying to think of a really good comparison for you. I have to come back to you. Let me have a think, Sylvania Material. When I send that email, I'll give you a good comparison. But he's going to be really good for the Steelers, and they're going to have a much better cornerback room. I'm just trying to think of a good comparison for you in terms of what that is going to be like at cornerback. Yeah, let me come back to you. Let me have a think about that one. I really need my coffee. Toddy says, Mark, JD52, better ingredients, better pizza. Did I miss something on the pizza? Sorry, my bad. I'm going to make pizza tonight. I've got a pizza base in there. I love homemade pizza now. I just make homemade pizza. That's all right, Mark. It's been a minute since we did a live show. We've only done one since the draft. I've been really sick this week, still on the mend. You know, it's been hard to do a couple of the live shows on my birthday last week. And yeah, there we go. G52 says HDU legend. That's the Hooly Dooly University, which is the memberships on Steelers Nation Australia. If you're not part of the Hooly Dooly University, you got to go sign a ticket. No scholarships given. Got to pay your tuition. It's a good membership fee. Pittsburgh Toddy says, what's a Cindy? Chicken schnitzel. A crumb chicken kind of thing. Like call them the Austrian schnitzel. I don't know what the technical name is. Not Wiener schnitzel. Darwin Nolan says, you've been a long time fan too, Darwin. But Darwin says, Andy White will build team trenches this year as well. Exactly. I keep saying every year, you guys know the theme of my draft. What is it? Trenchy, not trendy. We need that. And DL's got to be the priority next year. I reckon, and you're right, Darwin. He did start with the O-line. You're exactly right, Darwin. And then he went to do the D-line. So, yeah, I reckon they're getting a D-lineman next year. There's a kid out of Ohio State that I want to look at as well. Gene, you're all that chat. Sorry, I took so long to get there. Mark sucks, Matty rule. I love it. I love the X and the Z too. That's such a it takes me back. It takes me back to being in high school. I love it. Stone Show says, here we go. JJ52 says, thank you. Every success to you too. You guys know what a city is anyway. Like, you guys are you're on Steel Nation show. You know what a chicken city is. Just give him like shit. I love it. Gene Smith says, I think Russell's going to kill it this year. Really think he's going to go get Cam, TJ, Mink into the big game. Hopefully, man. Hopefully this is that 2005, Big Ben with Jerome Bettis. It's that stuff. Hopefully it's all that sort of focus and narrative and power. Man, I'm surprised my voice has held up for this long. It's starting to go, but we'll get there. Even if I talk like this by the end of it. Yeah, JJ, it's yum. It's yum. I've got some in the fridge actually. I might make some. I get these really good, there's frozen ones you just shove in the oven. My wife makes really, really, really good chicken schnitzel. You get the chicken, particularly chicken tenderloins, and then you do here's a quick way to do it, right? You literally, if you want to make a homemade one, you can get a thicker slab of chicken. Even Marky D, you can do this. You get it, so you get the chicken, you get the egg, crack the egg in the bowl, you mix it up like the egg wash, the egg yolk, like if you're making a scrambled egg or an omelet, and then put the bowl there, and you get a bunch of you give it breadcrumbs, you lie them flat on like a chopping board or a plate. Cooking with Matty. I love cooking, but cooking with Matty, a new segment on Steelers Social Media. But it's great game day food. I do this all the time for game day. Particularly if the Steelers are playing the primetime games and it's lunchtime. So then you get the egg wash, you get the breadcrumbs on the plate, you get the chicken, you dip it in the egg wash, you roll it through the breadcrumbs, you shove them in the oven at far out. Be more than about 350 American Fahrenheit, and then you let it cook for 20, 30 minutes. Beautiful. And then if you like your spices, you can put some peppers in there, in the breadcrumbs, or I like rosemary or thyme, the herbs with chicken. Beautiful. You wrap that up, you put that in, you pull it out, chili flakes. Oh, good as gold. Barbecue sauce, heaven. That's it. That's it, JJ52. Lucky D session is great. Yeah, I've got chicken nuggets in the fridge as well. They're good ones. Lucky D says $5. Another $5 super chat for the Bengals suck. I love it. Tonkatsu. How different is that to let me Google what that is. Tonkatsu. Is that just katsu chicken? What I'd know is katsu chicken. Tonkatsu. Oh yeah, katsu chicken. Yeah, it's just the slang name. It's effectively what it is. It's effectively what it is. Man, when I found out they made that in Japanese food, I got that all the time. Yeah, tonkatsu is awesome. Nothing like sushi in Japan. I had sushi in Japan. That was an awesome experience. Such good value too. Anyway, we're now almost hitting the pizza podcast. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys really didn't have to do this super chats, but this is the first live show I've ever done that would be allowed to have them, and I just appreciate you, Marky D, and Eugene for those. That's awesome. Just absolutely awesome. I think that's cleared now. Is katsu? No, because tempura is more the fried, whereas the katsu, well, they could fry it if it's in the breadcrumbs, but tempura is more, think of it like a batter, whereas the katsu or tonkatsu is that's more breaded and then done versus a batter. Yeah, that's it. Oh, so it's not the chicken one. There's chicken katsu, but then is that not called tonkatsu? Now I'm confused. But it's funny, Toddy. You bring up the tonkatsu like tempura. So I have people are gluten free or whatever, but like I have a gluten allergy. I have celiac disease, and so it affects like eating and drinking and all the rest of it. I get very, very sick. But it's funny because they make a lot of the gluten free chicken products. Like the nuggets I've got in my freezer that I can heat up, they're actually tempura done. New channel, mate. I kid you not. The only crap thing is I say I got celiac disease, so I couldn't do it. Schnitty tour of Sydney, but trust me, I have eaten my fair share of schnitties, and I like parmigiana. So you get the parmigiana sauce, which is like a tomato-based Italian sauce. We have this in Australia. You put that on the schnitty, and you put a cheese on top. And then some pubs and bars, we do at home now because it's easy for me to eat at home most of the time. You can have different ones. So some people have done I've seen ones with like a Mexican, like chili con carne and cheese on top. I like the Hawaiian one. So you get the chicken, you get the tomato sauce, you get the Parmigiana sauce, but it's tomato-based sauce, like Italian tomato-based sauce. And then you get the pineapple, bit of chili flakes, and you do a layer of ham on top of that. And then the cheese goes on top of that. But there's all different ones you can get in the show. It's a thing. Fuzzy brings us back to the Steelers. Russ is one of the best deep ball pass in league history. Oh, man, they're going to cook. Roman Wilson. I saw a really good comparison on a Pittsburgh, another small Pittsburgh Steelers channel called, can't remember the name, but I'm gonna find them. We're gonna try and get them on. But they were comparing him to Doug Baldwin versus Tyler Lockett, and I like the Doug Baldwin Roman Wilson comparison. And in 2016, Doug Baldwin was the receiver that got the most amount of ball, had 1,183 yards with Russ in 2016, and they cooked. Schnitty's down under. Yeah, I love that. Mark Lancaster says DK from DK Pittsburgh Sports says that McCormick is. Yeah, I've heard that. People said he was a beast, and I heard an interview with Frazier, and Frazier said that he worked out with McCormick. Was it for Frazier? I think it was Frazier that they worked out together. It was someone I heard this week in one of the shows that said they'd worked out with McCormick. I think it was Frazier. That he worked out with him pre-draft, and he's an absolute beast. And Spencer Anderson could be good. So Shannon and I talked about it on the Global Perspective last week, but then the line in 2026 could be Broderick, McCormick, Frazier, Spencer Anderson, whose best position is at right guard. I've watched heaps of tape on him. And then Fatanu. That would be insane. And all guys would be on rookie contracts off with your options, so it'd be cheap too. Gene. Mate, that's exactly what I've been doing. I literally... Between Global Perspective and this, so I got the T, and then I've got to keep going it with the. So what? I'm pretty good, but I've got to do it. I'm hoping to have I'm gonna try whiskey tonight instead. McCormick being spicy, yeah, he's gonna be a good bloke. He's super athletic. And then Jennifer just says, how does Russ see over the line? Mate, I cannot believe the height of that guy. I don't know what we want to say. Oh, you make chicken masala? I like chicken masala. It's good. Well, sorry. Actually, if you get a proper chicken snitty that's not small with tenderloin, like it's a big, thick cut of chicken, then you could make 2 or 3 chicken burgers from one schnitty. So actually, it's worth cooking at home so you can make. Have you guys have surely heard this on Steeler Nation Australia, right? Surely Mark's brought up schnitty. Because we call the other one, we call a palmy, which is the chicken parmigiana. We go, you're going to have a palmy. And this is a debate in our culture down here, down under. Oh, we're going back to our roots, talking about all our Australian stuff. But a palmy, is it spelled Palmy, which has other connotations, or is it a Parmy? Interesting. Or is it palmy? Is it more spelled like Pammy? Like I've heard a lot of people do different things. I like palmy, Parmy. That's what it is. But yeah, I love schnitty's new favorite word. I love it. I have to do like schnitzel toppings. We'll have to do a chicken schnitzel topping show. That's a mouthful. Any other Steeler related questions before I close it out and I'm not able to talk for the rest of the weekend, which maybe my wife might appreciate that. Actually, I talk a lot. But yeah, any other Steeler related questions? I will say this. I'm really excited by the draft class. Still, I keep looking at it. I keep looking at different things that the Steelers have done. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. G52 says, Pam. I like that. With that, I'm going to close out the show, try and rest up my voice a little bit. I did want to thank everyone for the super chats. We absolutely so appreciate that. Really don't have to. We're not going to push that. I'm not going to ever be that sort of channel. But yeah, I'm so thankful for them. They got the stickers. So there's that there as well. I don't know how, I know how they kind of work, and obviously in theory, but we'll see how that kind of all rolls. Technically, YouTube allows us to do the membership thing. We'll just see how things roll for a bit. But the biggest thing that's coming up too, I'm trying to figure out a way how you guys, for those that can meet up for a tailgate or post-game celebration after the Steelers win against the Chargers. For those who are going to be in Pittsburgh for the Week 3 game, I am trying to start to organize something from that. The first thing I'm trying to sort out is how I can get all your feedback and what everyone wants to do and all this sort of stuff. I'm trying to get all that sorted first, like a platform. It might even be like an easiest just for me to give you guys a Discord channel. But I'm going to figure out how we can all do that. And over the next month or so, we're going to figure out what it's going to be. But we are going to absolutely rock Pittsburgh in the Steelers Touchown Under community. Pittsburgh Tony says all night long. She's like, oh, you crack me up. Mark says, bless you again about it. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you. And thank you to everyone in the live chat, all that is watching this. It's not in the live chat, or that's watching this on replay, because it is coming to you on a Friday night. And for some people, they might be out busy doing something, or they might be chilling at home, not want to listen to me croak on. But I appreciate people that do want to listen to me, particularly those on live chat. There's no point doing a live without the live chat. I absolutely love it. I wanted to talk Steelers with you guys. I was debating, do you think I can make it through an hour? I've made it an hour and 3 minutes. So, it's what Mike Tomlin says. It's not what you're capable of. It's what you're willing to do. And I want to throw it back to, I just love this. I just feel like this is the Steelers' attitude. This is how they got to approach the schedule to tie it back to the start of the show.
We just want to roll people, man, to be honest with you guys. We got some backs that we like.
That's it. Those backs they like. That's why they keep it Najee. They're going to run the rock. They're going to run the schedule down. Jedel says, great show as always. Thanks, mate. Get better soon. Catch 46ers. But before I go, we will have we've got 3 to 4 Steelers Global Perspective shows coming out on the weekend, all different kind of topics. So that's cool stuff that no one's talking about. I've got a Brandon for Hoko video coming next week. I've got, obviously, Mark and I at some point hopefully be able to do a Steelers prediction schedule show. And there's a couple of other things I've got in the works as well. So kind of exciting for that. And I will hit back Steel Fan Enemy Territory. Give me a chance to have a coffee. I'll hit you back on that comparison for you. And I've got to email you about that other thing as well. Everyone, I thought you guys knew the word schnit. So funny. I actually want to see I'll just do that to react right now. But what's the Urban Dictionary one for that? I wonder if they've got one for that. Oh, I should have said this when I looked it up with the schnitzel. I should have said this before. You can also get a veal schnitzel. A veal schnitzel is great. Problem with a veal schnitzel is some people overcook it and then it becomes really like, it's like eating a flip-flop or, Haviana. I want to say eating, we call them also thongs here, but if I say eating a thong, everyone's going to be laughing in a different sort of context. But yeah, schnitty. Man, now I want one. I'm going to have to go have one for lunch. All right, everyone, go enjoy your Friday nights. Thank you for joining me on a Friday night on the East Coast, West Coast, or wherever around the world you're listening. As always, go Steelers.